origins of today's vlog comes from an email I got from Yande's, where they introduced men's underwear with the name Ball Caddy and a trusty TM designation. I joked, isn't this merely descriptive? It turns out, the Trademark Manual of Examining Procedure states that if a word or phrase is capable of more than one interpretation as applied to the specific goods or services, a double entendre will not be refused registration as merely descriptive, even if one of the meanings are merely descriptive of the goods or services. However, if all meanings are descriptive, then the mark is still refused registration as merely descriptive. In addition, the mark is considered as a whole instead of breaking it down into pieces. The double entendre must be readily apparent to the public from the mark itself. I just had to find out what other double entendre trademarks are out there. Sugar and spice is a trademark that was allowed registration for baked goods because of the nursery rhyme associating sugar and spice with everything nice. The hard line was permitted registration for mattresses because it didn't mean just extra support, but also was a vernacular expression that describes an attitude of toughness in relationship to others. The soft punch was allowed as a registration for non-carbonated soft drinks because it was essentially redundant and not a phrase commonly used for non-alcoholic beverages. No bones about it was allowed registration for fresh pre-cooked ham in part because the phrase also means to be sure, serious, or definite about a matter. Light and lively was allowed for reduced calorie mayonnaise because the word light, when viewed as a whole, meant something different than just low calorie. Sheer elegance was allowed for pantyhose. Here, sheer did not need to be disclaimed because as a whole, the mark had another meaning than the material of the pantyhose. Engineered tax services could mean that the tax services are performed skillfully and scientifically, or that the tax services were done by actual engineers, and thus, this was allowed. Fast drink for nutritional meal replacement could apply to being prepared quickly, being a quick snack, or a meal replacement while someone is fasting, so it was allowed registration. The double entendre argument is not always successful. For example, scoop for ice cream probably refers more to the serving of ice cream rather than a news scoop, because it's not immediately perceived by the consumer that the product is a news scoop. Express service is merely descriptive of banking services, even if it also connotes the Pony Express, because the public probably would not make that connection. For a mark I think is pretty clever, the USPTO denied Bazaar Home because it was merely descriptive, despite the argument that it could mean strange dwelling, bazaar, or a Middle Eastern-themed marketplace. Another potential example is the carpet yard, as Eric Pelton pointed out on Twitter. This can refer to either a measurement of 3 feet or the grounds of a building. To my surprise, I did not immediately come across any risque double entendres. Maybe they will come up more in the aftermath of the Supreme Court striking down the portion of the Lanham Act prohibiting registrations of scandalous marks. If you know of any, please leave them below in the comments. As another example, TAF Legal, which should be perceived in 2 different ways, my initials, Todd A. Fichtenberg, and trademarks are fun.